Assalamu alaikum. This is a question that is coming up, especially as we're about to enter the holy month of Ramadan. Here's some common questions that come up. So we wanted to go ahead and try and offer a platform to address these questions. Some of them relate to when is the start of Ramadan, when is the end of Ramadan, when is the start of the actual fast, when is the end of the actual fast. And so these are the type of questions that we have, and inshallah, Sheikh Mujtaba here can help elaborate those for us, and as we prepare for this blessed month.
Inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم صلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآله. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Once again, thank you for facilitating this platform, and thank you for those who follow us and participate, and also share comments, as well as those who ask further questions, because that will help us learn more, inshallah. Regarding the holy month of Ramadan, as we are approaching the month, the first question is the start of the month. Okay, start or the end, both of them similar. So we start the month with the sighting of the moon in our area. Very important. In our own area, we sight the moon. If we cannot sight the moon ourselves, and it cannot be sighted anywhere nearby, that would confirm that we could have seen it. Let's say it's cloudy where we are, and we couldn't see it, but somebody nearby sees it and tells us that they sighted the new moon, and it gives us certainty that we could have seen it had it not been cloudy, for instance, for us. Therefore, that would be the start of the lunar month. Otherwise, we complete the days, the 30 days of the previous month, which is Sha'ban, or in the month of Ramadan before Eid, we complete the holy month of Ramadan, and then we complete the 30 days, and then we will have the first day of Shawwal, or the Eid day. So that's the beginning of the month and the end of the month. Similarly, there are some maraja or scholars who have a slightly different opinion, in the sense that they suggest if you share the night with a city that has sighted the moon, then that suffices. And there are also others who consider even the entire globe to have the same start, as soon as it's sighted, or as long as it's sighted somewhere, or it's even possibly visible, it suffices. However, our great scholars, including Ayatollah Sistani, has the condition of sighting the moon with the naked eye in your city, or achieving certainty, yaqeen, otherwise through people sighting it nearby and so on. Can we go with astronomical calculations? If it gives us certainty that the moon can be sighted with the naked eye in your city, yes. If it does not give us certainty, then we cannot go with that calculation. And oftentimes it happens that science and calculations, they say you may sight the moon. It's not certain. So obviously they don't know for sure that it can be sighted. What we're looking for is not the birth of the moon, we're looking for the sighting of the moon. So that's question number one. The other issue is that commonly people ask is the niyyah, intention. Okay, the intention of fasting. Do I have to make the intention every Fajr? What if I don't wake up before the Fajr? Can I still? None of this should be of concern, because if you start the month of Ramadan with the niyyah to fast the holy month of Ramadan, that suffices. It's a continuous niyyah for the entire month. Even if one ends up traveling and coming back and then they're able to fast, they don't need to consciously renew their niyyah and say something. It is in their mind, they know what they're doing, and that's what niyyah is all about. So don't worry too much about the niyyah. You intend to fast, you fast. The The only thing concern is for the holy month of Ramadan is the niyyah starts at Fajr, not Dhuhr. For Qada fast, for any other wajib, Qada or Nadhr even, it could be a Dhuhr, but for and Mustahab fast, you can even make the niyyah anytime before Maghrib if you have not done anything that invalidates fasting. However, wajib fasting starts before Fajr, unless one was traveling and comes back home before Dhuhr, then it extends until then. That would take care of the second issue. The other issue is regarding when do we start? When is Fajr? Okay, and what about Imsak? Okay, and then we have the Maghrib or sunset. Is it Maghrib? Is it sunset? Which one? So this is, inshallah, I'll be very brief. Again, I would love to hear from you if you have your comments, further questions, and we can elaborate. If need be, we can have a live session if necessary, and we can address other questions regarding the holy month of Ramadan as well in that live session. However, in very brief note on this issue, Fajr is the time that we're certain it is Fajr time, so we can pray Fajr. That is when we stop eating and start fasting. Okay, and Imsak is precautionary, added to calendars. There's jurisprudentially, there is no presence for Imsak in any hadith. No hadith, no ayah in the Quran says you have to stop eating before Fajr. You stop eating at the time of Fajr. وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا حَتَّى يَتَبَيَّنَ لَكُمْ الْخَيْطُ الْأَبْيَضُ مِنَ الْخَيْطِ الْأَسْوَدِ مِنَ الْفَجْرِ. That's when you stop eating and drinking, when you see the actual light, the first morning twilight, if you wish, that breaks breaks the horizon, basically the darkness of the horizon, not the vertical one, which is referred to as al-fajr, the kadhib, the fake twilight, and the real one is the horizontal one that starts spreading from then on. It doesn't disappear, it starts spreading from then until the sunrise. Now, can we see it in our cities? Most of us, we cannot see it, and therefore we follow calendars. And there are calendars that do the calculations based on those rulings and what they have witnessed out there. I would say use those calendars, and do not use any calendar or program that simply add to a certain time of calendars, especially when it comes to Maghrib. I'll come to that inshallah. So we conclude inshallah with Fajr. So Fajr, we said, you follow these calendars. There is, for instance, Liva, LEVA Institute, and most of the calendars that you use on your phones have the Liva Institute. You put that calculation, and that suffices. If it gives you the Fajr time that in your city, that suffices. That's Fajr time. You eat and drink until then. Obviously, you don't want to be in a position where food is still in your mouth at the time of Fajr, because you cannot swallow it. Otherwise, it invalidates fasting. And what would be better even is to brush your teeth and clean them prior to the time of Fajr. Therefore, you don't end up swallowing anything unintentionally. The last one for this question, inshallah, for this session is Maghrib. Okay, the time of Maghrib. Is it, or the time that we end our fast, we break our fast? Is it when the sun is no longer visible, it goes under the horizon, which is referred to as sunset, or is it after that? According to most of our maraja, for the sake of obligatory precaution, you have to continue your fast until the reflection of the sun, not the sun itself, goes below the horizon, but the reflection of the sun that just went below the horizon in the east disappears. So when the sun goes below the horizon, there's a reflection of it in the east. In fact, if you have a tall tower after sunset, you can still see the sun on. If you have a tall tower and you go up a few levels, you can still see the sun. So according to our maraja, based on the hadith from Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, how do we know it's Maghrib? He says, look at the reflection of the sun in the east. So once the reflection of the sun in the east disappears, that is when we break our fast. And how long does that take? It depends on your area. There are some calendars, and I urge mu'mineen and mu'minat to be careful. There are some calendars that suggest it's 12 minutes after sunset. And they may add 2 or 3 minutes for the sake of precaution. That is not accurate. It changes throughout the year, summer and winter, it changes. And it also changes as you go further away from the equator. Okay, in some areas, it could be 20 or 22 minutes after sunset. And in some areas, it could be 10 or 12 minutes after sunset. So you use those calendars. Use those calendars that you have on your perhaps phones, and use some of those, perhaps the Liva Institute or the other calculation methods that are reliable, and they give you the right time for Maghrib. Another important point is, should we break our fast immediately as Maghrib happens in terms of eating? Okay, something that you have to eat right then and there, and therefore, if you don't break your fast, then it's problematic. That is not accurate according to the school of Ahlul Bayt and our scholars. Rather, what is best actually is to pray your Maghrib. The first thing you should do after Maghrib is to pray. And then you can break your fast, unless one is unable to focus on their salat because of hunger, or people are waiting for them. Okay, the hadith says if people are waiting, somebody asked the Imam, should I break my fast or pray? He said, if you're able to, pray, and then you can break your fast and eat. And if people are waiting for you, then eat with them. Okay, so don't delay people. If you feel like you want to pray and they're going to wait, then eat with them. So does it mean that we're extending the fast? No. Fast finishes with Maghrib. Okay, but we have not eaten because we're just focusing on praying first, just to clarify that point. And I think that suffices for this session, unless there are further questions.
There was one more that we had the other day about the brushing.
Ahsan. So yeah, brushing teeth. Can we brush teeth during the day? As I mentioned, it would be best to brush your teeth prior to starting fasting, so that there's nothing left in your mouth or between your teeth, because swallowing it invalidates fasting. If it's done knowingly, it invalidates fast. However, can I do it afterwards, during the time that I'm fasting? The answer is, it is not recommended to gargle water or to put water in your mouth during the day when you're fasting. But that non-recommendation, which is part of what you would need to do when you brush your teeth, that non-recommendation is removed with the time of salat, when you want to make wudu for salat. So you can make your brushing at the same time as you are making wudu for your salat, or you're making wudu in general, because part of wudu is to, a recommended part of wudu is to rinse the mouth and do the gargling or mahmada, to rinse the mouth 3 times. So you can perhaps make it at that time. Therefore, that non-recommendation is also nullified. But yes, you can brush, provided you do not swallow anything, not water, not the toothpaste, nothing. As long as you rinse properly, you can brush. And the non-recommendation can be removed, as we mentioned.
Thank you.
Thank you.